Canada, 2022. Truckers go on strike. Now, it doesn't matter what side you're on politically. It doesn't matter if you agreed with the strike or not. Strikes are important to workers, but that's not the point of this video. Here's what matters. The Canadian government told banks to freeze the accounts of people who donated to the truckers. Not just the organizers, the donors, regular people who sent 20, 50, $100 to support a cause they believed in. No trial, no charges filed, just frozen. Couldn't access their money, couldn't buy groceries, couldn't pay rent. And that's when a lot of people realized something terrifying. Your bank account has an off switch. Welcome back to Decoded with Laura. Today, we need to talk about financial control. Because if you think your bank account is actually yours, you need to hear this. Let's break it down. So, Canada was shocking, but it wasn't isolated. This is the system working exactly as designed. Banks don't work for you, they work with the government, and they work within regulations. They have to comply with laws and requests from authorities. And sometimes they just decide on their own they don't like what you're doing. Let me give you a personal example. A few years ago, I wanted to open a crypto.com credit card, a totally legitimate company, publicly traded, regulated. I had the money and I knew what I was doing. I wanted to fund the account. My bank said no. Not, we need more info, not, let's verify this, just no. They told me they were protecting me from fraud. I explained, I know what I'm doing. This is my money and I want to send it. It didn't matter. They decided I couldn't spend my money the way I wanted to for my protection. And there was nothing I could do about it. Their system, their rules. Now, that's frustrating, but it's not life altering. But it does show you how the system works. They decide, not you. And if they can decide that you can't send your money to a crypto company, they can decide a lot of other things too. Want to see where this goes if unchecked? Look at China. China has a social credit system. Your behaviors get scored. Post something the government doesn't like, score goes down. Don't pay a bill on time, score goes down. Associate with someone they don't approve of, score goes down. And when the score is low enough, you can't buy plane tickets. You can't get loans. Your kids can't get into good schools. Financial access becomes a control mechanism. Behave the way we want, or we turn off your ability to participate in society. Now, you might be thinking, that's China. That's an authoritarian government. That cannot happen here. But we already saw it in Canada, a Western democracy. Froze bank accounts of citizens for donating to a protest. No conviction, no due process, just turned their money off. The infrastructure for this kind of control already exists. It's built into the banking system. The question isn't, can they do it? They can. The question is, will they and under what circumstances? And I know what some of you are thinking. I've never had a problem with my bank. I'm not doing anything illegal. If you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. But here is the problem with that logic. Just because it hasn't happened to you yet doesn't mean it won't. And the definition of wrong changes. Who decides what is suspicious activity? The bank? The government? An algorithm? The people who donated to the Canadian truckers, they weren't criminals. They supported a cause they believed in. The transactions were legal. The donations were legal. But the government didn't like it. So they froze the accounts. You don't have to break the law. You just have to do something they don't approve of. And once you understand that, you can't unsee it. Your bank account, your credit cards, your ability to participate in the financial system, it all has an off switch. Maybe they'll never flip that switch for you. Maybe you'll go your whole life and never have a problem. But the switch exists and someone else controls it. Now, let's be realistic here. I'm not saying you need to abandon banks completely, although some people have. There are ways to use crypto exclusively for everything, paying bills, buying groceries, living entirely outside the traditional banking system if you want to go that route. But most of us, we still use banks. I do. Day to day stuff, bills, convenience, it's easier for certain things. But here's the key: I keep my expectations realistic. I know that the money in my bank account is in their hands and not mine. I know they can freeze it, deny transactions, and flag things as suspicious. I know I'm operating within their system by their rules. So I use banks for short term convenience, spending money, monthly expenses. But Bitcoin, that's for long term security and freedom. Money I control, money that can't be frozen, money that doesn't require permission from anyone. You can live in both worlds. You probably should. Use banks for what they're good at, making everyday transactions easy. But don't put everything in a system someone else controls. Have alternatives. So, what is the alternative? Bitcoin. Bitcoin can't be frozen, not if you control your keys. Bitcoin can't be seized by a government or a bank. Bitcoin doesn't care what politicians think about how you spend it. There's no CEO to pressure, no company to shut down, no central point of control. If you have your Bitcoin in self custody, meaning you hold your private keys, not the exchanges, not a company, then it's yours. Nobody can take it. Nobody can freeze it. Nobody can tell you that you can't spend it. And that's the whole point. Again, I'm not saying abandon banks entirely yet, but have alternatives ready now. Don't keep all your wealth in one system that someone else controls. Diversify, not just your investments, diversify your control. Some in banks for convenience and liquidity, some in Bitcoin for security and freedom. Because once you understand that they can turn off your money, the smart move is to make sure they can't turn it all off. Here's the reality: they can turn off your money. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe never, but they can. The Canadian trucker donors learned that. People trying to use crypto learned that. Anyone who's had their account flagged for suspicious activity learned that. Your bank account has an off switch, and someone else holds the remote. Once you understand that, you can't unsee it. So, what do? You have alternatives ready. You don't put all your eggs in one basket that someone else can kick over whenever they want. Bitcoin isn't perfect, but it's the first form of money in modern history that can't be controlled by governments or banks. And in a world where financial access equals freedom, that matters. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more honest conversations about money and freedom. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.